Hello friends, today we are doing something super fun. I know the whole trend of the sisterhood of the traveling books is a big thing these days, and so I'm doing it in a couple of different ways in this video. First things first is I have a completely empty unread book. This is book 2 in the Kane Brothers series by Meghan Quinn, and I have gotten my friend Maria really into this author, and so I read book 1 and annotated it, and I was like, hey, do you want to read it? You can annotate my copy. And so she was just here in town and she took it with her, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read book 2 because I'm gonna send these 3 books together to her in a package, and I figured might as well send another one for her as well. So that's how this one's gonna go. This is book 2 in this. Let me explain, then I'll go over the books. So that's how this one's gonna work. She recently read this book, Something Wilder by Christina Lauren, and was like, I think you would really like this book. Do you want to read it? And I was like, yeah, I'm totally down. So she brought it with her while she was in town, and I'm gonna read this and annotate it and send it back. And then we have got this book, which is An Academic Affair. This was supposed to be, honestly, in its own separate video of Sisterhood of the Traveling Books, and then I lost the footage for the first 3 books because when I lost all my footage, so devastation. But me and a bunch of the girls in my D&D group have been working on this literally since November. It got a little stalled, but we each picked a color. Maria is green, Teresa is pink, Siobhan is purple, and Amber was red. And we're all reading and annotating the book. You can see they've already went to town on it, and I'm actually the last person to read this. And I do actually also own this book, so I'll be able to check it off of my own personal TBR as well, which is amazing. But yeah, so we've got a whole different all these different situations here. But let's go over the books. Again, this is book 2. This is an interconnected standalone series about the Kane brothers. This one is the longest, but Meghan Quinn books are very much, if you like a rom-com type of romance, Meghan Quinn is your bitch. Her books are quite literally rom-coms. But this book is book 2. And it says, ha, friends with J.P. Kane? That's laughable. He firmly believes men and women can't be friends and work together. So it is safe to say that Kelsey Gardner wants nothing to do with him. He's annoyingly loud, obnoxiously handsome, and has made the art of pushing Kelsey's buttons all day long. No thank you. So you can imagine how horrified Kelsey is when she not only has to fly out to San Francisco with JP for work, but also has to stay at the same penthouse during the trip. They'll be sharing the same air 24/7 as full-fledged working roommates. Being that close to JP is reading more like a nightmare. The man doesn't seem to know how to wear a shirt, thrives off of protein bars, and is constantly flirting up a storm. Tack on his polished good looks, and Kelsey suddenly staring down the barrel of a seductive temptation that makes it hard to sleep. But can she control herself? She's been doing it since the first day she met this guy, after all. Because if there's no one thing she knows for certain, it's that she and J.P. Kane are so not meant to be. Then we've got this one. I have loved almost all the Christina Laurens that I have read, other than Twice in a Blue Moon. I gave that book 1 star, but everything else I've read by them, I've really loved. This one says, growing up, the daughter of the notorious and notoriously absent treasure hunter Duke Wilder left Lily without much patience for the profession, or much money in the bank. Using Duke's hand-drawn map to guide tourists on treasure hunts through the canyons of Utah pays the bills, but it isn't enough to buy back the beloved ranch her father sold years ago. And it is definitely not enough to deal with the sight of her first love walking back into her life with a motley crew of friends ready to hit the trails. Leo Grady knew mirages were a thing in the desert. When the silhouette of his greatest regret comes into focus in the flickering light of the campfire, Leo realizes he wants nothing more than to reconnect with his first and only love. Unfortunately, Lily draws a clear line in the sand, and it is never going to happen. But when the routine trip goes completely sideways and the group wonders if maybe the legend of the hidden treasure wasn't a gimmick after all. Alone, under the stars, in the isolated, dangerous mazes of the canyon lands, Leo and Lily must decide whether they'll risk their lives and their hearts on this adventure of a lifetime. And then finally, we have got An Academic Affair, which says, Sadie Shaw and Jonah Fisher have been academic rivals since their first crossed paths as undergraduates in the literature department 15 years ago. In the cutthroat world of academia, opportunities are scarce and competition is ruthless. Now postdocs thrust into professional uncertainty. They both do anything to find some stability, so when a highly coveted teaching position comes up, their rivalry hits an epic proportions. Jonah needs the job to move closer to his recently divorced sister and her children, while Sadie needs the financial security and freedom of a full-time teaching position. Once Sadie notices that the university offers partner hire. However, she hatches a plot to get them both the job. All they need to do is be legally married. It's a simple win-win solution, but when sparks begin to fly, it becomes clear that despite their education, these two may not have thought this whole thing through. So these all sound quite good. I don't think I'll give anything in this stack less than 4 stars, so I'm very excited to get into these. Y'all, I am in a reading slough, okay? It is 5 o'clock. I'm waiting for my husband to get home from work. He is a delivery driver for Amazon, so it's always kind of like a mystery when he will be home. I don't know. I'm just going to use my Magic the Gathering card for my bookmark because I don't really care about making it match right now. But I am going to read this for the simple fact that I've been in a reading slump probably for like a month and I am exhausted. The last thing I really want to do is anything right now, but there's nothing for me to watch on YouTube. I don't have anything to watch on TV, so I figured I should read. And maybe reading something that is a Sisterhood of the Traveling Books where like I'm reading it to find out what all of my friends said will keep me interested enough to want to read. I might just read 2 chapters, I don't know. But right now, it's the best we can do, okay? Alrighty friends, I am not quite halfway through An Academic Affair. This is not even the copy that I'm reading. This is my copy. I'm reading Maria's copy. You guys know the deals, but I just have this sitting here on my completed books because I am going to be finishing this. I'm probably about 30% of the way through this, and I'm honestly not loving it. One thing about me is I do not love an enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers, because I am a grudge holder, and if I don't like somebody, that's never going to change. But in this book, we've got our 2 main characters, Sadie and Jonah, and they have kind of been rivals for the last 10 or so years. They've kind of gone through all of the stages of school together. This book takes place in Australia. And they, all the way through like getting their doctorate, they have been rivals. And now the issue is they're both trying to get a job in academia, which is really hard. There's maybe 2 or 3 listings a year that come up. And so they are, like, the bickering between them feels like they're 15. So the fact that they're 32 actually makes me gag a little bit. And that does piss me off. So I think that's like my biggest issue with this, is that they act like children, but they're in their 30s. Like, they're older than me and they're acting younger than my little sister. And that is infuriating. Things are starting to churn at the point that I am at, though, but this is all in the synopsis. Essentially, they're competing for this job. Sadie gets the job and she's reading through the contract and she feels really bad for Jonah because he really wants this job. Not only because he really wants it, but because it is in Tasmania where his, or yeah, I think that's right. I don't know. It's somewhere else that, like, his sister lives there, and she's kind of going through it, and he wants to go there. So she's reading through her contract and realizes there's the ability for them to have a partner hire, where if you are married and your partner is qualified, they will consider hiring them. So you get, if the job requires relocation. So what do? They get married so that he could possibly get a job at the school, but now they have to basically remain married for 3 years, so this doesn't look like a hoax. And yeah, so it's gonna be this whole fake marriage situation, which I do love fake dating. As long as the rival part takes a back seat, I think that I could really enjoy this, but as of right now, I am a bit annoyed with them. I think everybody involved is gonna be shocked. If you hear crazy thunder, just know it's been going on for a couple of hours, and I've gotten 6 flash flood warnings, so, but I think pretty much everybody involved is going to be shocked to know that I ended up rating An Academic Affair by Jodi McAlister 5 stars. Wow! This makes this the most successful of the 5 books I read for this Sisterhood of the Traveling Books situation. This book was a 5-star, my book was a 4-star, Teresa's book was a 3-star, Amber's book was a 2-star, and Siobhan's book was a 1-star. So we literally had one of everything, which is actually kind of wild when you think about it. But any hoodly doodle. So there was this reoccurring phrase throughout this book that was, I've got a soft spot for sisters. And as somebody who has a soft spot for sisters, and I related so much to Sadie's older sister Chess in this book, Francesca. Basically, this was obviously like a romance between her and Jonah, but I think it was even more so a love story of sisters, and a story about sisterhood and about how hard it is coming from a household where the older sibling has to take care of the younger sibling, and that coming from a household of like divorced parents. My parents divorced when I was 4 and my sister was 18 months old, and like her sister Chess, I had to take on a lot of those responsibilities of helping care for her, and it does make me love her too much. And I know that my love for her can be exhausting in the way that Chess's love for Sadie is exhausting. It's almost like you view them as like your child, and how much you love them is almost to that extreme because you did help raise them. And getting to see how like Sadie and Francesca were able to better their relationship. There was also this topic because Jonah has kind of like a strained relationship with his sister. He had said some things to her back in the day, and they're really working on rebuilding their relationship while she's kind of going through a nasty divorce and XYZ. And there's this topic that is explored that he feels the same way about his sister that Sadie does. That sometimes her love is overwhelming. Like the way that she showed up at the airport when all he wanted to do was just go to bed. Like, it's exhausting, but their relationship is not secure enough for him to be able to have that fight with her. And that it's actually beautiful that she and her sister are so close and have such a like secure, strong relationship with one another that they can, oh, there's a mosquito up in here, that they can have those talks and be able to grow from that and grow with each other and learn from each other, and just really getting to see how like the relationship between Chess and Jonah grow, because she's kind of hated him forever because of the way he's treated Francesca over the years. Getting to see him explore like the love he has had for her through all of these years ended up being really, really good. I skipped over all the footnotes. I hate a footnote. I don't care about a footnote. I'm gonna skip it, and I did skip every single footnote. So I'm gonna let you know that there was a lot more in the beginning. They kind of dulled down towards the end, but I did skip them. She also used the word dexterous way too many times to describe things Jonah's doing. Like, he held her hand and his hand is so dexterous. Like, nobody talks like that. It was very odd. But the sentiment of I have a soft spot for sisters got me good. Next up, we are going to go into Wilder by Christina Lauren. I know Maria annotated this. I don't know like how much she annotated it. I don't feel like she has all that many tabs in here, but I know she only gave this book 3 stars, so I'm hoping I like it more than she did. It only has a 3.6 something on Goodreads, but so did this one, so here's to hoping that it does not matter. You know what I mean? Also, fun fact, that mosquito that's in here is probably gonna bite Chris because I don't get mosquito bites. Pretty big, but it's honestly like, it's 1:30 or 12:30 in the morning, and the new episode of The Handmaid's Tale comes out at 2 a.m. my time, and at this point, I kind of feel like I might as well just stay up. I do have one video I could edit, so I might edit that, and then I don't think there's really anything else I want to watch. Like, YouTube's been kind of dry, so, you know, I might just edit that video, and then whatever time I have left, start this. That feels like a pretty solid plan for me, but so far this is going swimmingly. One more thing about this book. I am immediately just popping it in my office because Maria, it's her book, and she has an open order that I'm going to be mailing out to her this week, so I'm just going to throw that in there with it so that she can have that back as soon as possible. I don't need it for my reading wrap up because I have my own copy of that book. So I have that for whatever I need it for and don't need to hold on to her copy. So that will be on its merry way to her. Will we get started on Wilder? Alrighty, friends, I am about halfway through Something Wilder by Christina Lauren, and so far this book is very mediocre. It's feeling like maybe a 3 stars as of right now, but also the last book that I read, I thought the same thing at around like 40%, and then ended up giving it 5 stars, so we will see, but I do not know. So this book is about our main character. Her name is Lily, and she grew up in kind of like this Wild West lifestyle with her dad, Duke Wilder. He was really well known amongst all of these like treasure hunting, Wild West enthusiast groups, like kind of famous in them. He was like a archaeologist type of person or something to that effect. He was on National Geographic and all of these things. He has died, and now Lily gives these like treasure hunting tours to make ends meet because right before her dad died, he sold their ranch, and then, well, before he got sick, they sold his ranch, then had to use all the money for medical bills, and she's basically broker than a joke. So she and her friend Nicole, who I love Nicole, she's my favorite character, run this program. Flashback, she 10 years ago dated this guy Leo for 5 months. They were in love. His mom got into an accident and he had to go home to tend to his little sister, and she never heard from him again. So there's kind of bad blood there. So Leo and his friends, now back to the present day, every year go on some sort of like trip. It's like his friend Bradley, his friend Walter, and then this guy who's not their friend named Terry is tagging along this year. And it's Bradley's year to plan everything, and he books this trip to this experience, this treasure hunting experience where they get to be like cowboys for a week. They are brought out with tour guides to like trek these trails and sleep out in the wilderness and go treasure hunting, all this nonsense. And so whenever they arrive and then the guides show up, of course, Leo realizes that one of the guides is Lily, and it's awkward. So they're kind of tending to some wounds of broken promises, broken hearts of the past, while trying to, you know, go on this extremely dangerous wilderness experience. Where I am at now, something wild, get it, wild, happened. And now they have basically, Lily travels with her dad's journal, and she never really thought much of it. Her dad was constantly like doing riddles, XYZ, and it's already been told that Leo's like really good at solving riddles and puzzles. And so they kind of like get this inkling that maybe everything he said wasn't bullshit, and maybe he found whatever Cassidy, I don't remember the name of the fucking cowboy. Honestly, there was like many pages straight telling this story about this cowboy, and I had to skip over it because it was so boring. So boring. It was so many pages of it, and I'm just like, so sorry, I don't care even a little bit about him on the right page now. Cassidy. What was the first name? Butch Cassidy? I don't know. I don't care about the Wild West. That's not really like a special interest of mine. My current special interest is orcas and sharks. So I'm more of an ocean creature type of person. Anywho, so they now are kind of using the dad's journals, his riddles, his maps that he's drawn to try to figure out where, basically they think that the dad had found Butch Cassidy's treasures and then re-hid them and left this riddle to find them. So now they're on this mission to try to find the treasure. I don't know. It's kind of boring. I already feel like it could be like 50 pages shorter because the amount of detail we're going into about Butch Cassidy is not the amount of detail I need. I need none, personally. So that's where we are at. I'm not loving it, but that's fine because this doesn't live on my bookshelf. So it's going to go back to Maria and I'm never going to have to think about it again once I'm done. Okay, y'all, we finished this bad boy and I gave her 2 stars. I actually just sent Maria a voice message bitching about this book for like 5 minutes straight. I don't give a fuck about Butch Cassidy. Like, let me just tell you, in the amount of time we spent talking about this motherfucker, couldn't be bothered. The amount of time we spent in depth talking about these different codes they're cracking, don't want to hear it. The amount of time we spent about them talking about crossing rivers, don't give a shit. But what I really don't give a shit about, there's a book that I read that was called Say You'll Remember Me, or Say You'll Love Me? Say You'll Love Me. Say You'll Remember Me is, I think, that minutes. I think it's called Say You Love Me. Well, now I gotta check though. Say You Love Me. Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. And that gave me the same feelings as this, where I am not somebody, like, I have had 4 pretty significant relationships in my life. Obviously my husband, but other than that, I have an ex-fiance who I dated for 3 years and was engaged to. I have another ex-boyfriend that I dated for 2 years, and then I had another like pretty serious boyfriend that I dated for 8 months. And within like a month, I was like ready to get back out there and get on with my life. So the fact that Lily and Leo dated for 5 months 10 years ago and they're still hung up on each other, and he's like, yeah, like, I've tried dating, but like, I'm just the type of person who falls in love and stays in love with that person forever. Shut the fuck up. No, that was so stupid to me. I think I would have maybe given this book a 3 if there was no romance, because I did like the story-ish. Actually, there's just a lot I would change about it, because there's kind of this like emotional part towards the end regarding Lily and her dad Luke, but we go through this whole story knowing that she and her dad did not have that great of a relationship. They were not close. They had all these issues. So then trying to hit me with this like super emotional situation right at the end, I was not buying it. I did not like it. I hated that, actually. And so I would prefer the book to have no romance and for it to be more like her being devastated that her dad is gone and that she's going on this mission to like actually have closure with her dad. I don't know. There was so much about the second half of this book that I actually could not stand. And yeah. Also, there's some like, Maria, I had told her, when I gave her like my halfway update, and she's like, just stick it out, like, it's so, the end of this book is so twisty turny, ... Maria does not read thrillers, which is fair. They're not for everybody. I love a thriller. I have probably read 300 of them in the last 5 years. Nothing about this was twisty turny for your girl. I thought I could see everything coming from a mile away. From a yard away, from many yards away, from the moon. Like, I could see that shit coming. It was not shocking to me. So I'm over it. I'm gonna hold on to this for my reading wrap up, and then I'm gonna mail this back out to Maria with an academic affair. I'm gonna mail this out on Monday. It is currently 12:30 in the morning on Sunday. I have to work all day tomorrow, so there's no way I'm gonna read this nearly 500-page book in time to mail it out with this. But that's fine. I will just hold on to this and mail it out separately. I'm not really all that concerned. But I am going to be starting on a Not So Meet Cute, or not a, Not So Meet Cute was book 1. This is So Not Meant to Be. I think if I am correct, which I try to not speak things. One thing about me is my best girl Andrea is the exact same way. I'm never going to say that I know something unless I know it. So if I'm unsure about something, I'm probably just going to say I don't know. Yeah, this has the worst rating out of the 3 of them. The first book has a 4.01, and then this one has a 3.92, and the last one has a 4.23, which is crazy. I thought that this was the purple one was next, but apparently it's the blue one, which you guys knew from the beginning, but I was like thinking in my head, ooh, I can use purple tabs and a purple highlighter. I don't get to ever do that. I feel like I'm always using pink and yellow, but I don't really ever use blue, so that's fine. I just like purple more than I like blue, but that's gonna be that. I'm for sure not reading this right now. It's like 0% something I want to do. I'm gonna go lay in bed and watch Gavin's library. What's the like word I'm looking for? He posted he's like reorganizing his library situation, reorganizing his home library, and I am gonna watch that video. It's like 45 minutes long, so I'm gonna go do that while I upload some stuff to my Google Drive, and then hopefully I can fall asleep and it'll be great. I'm going to be honest, whenever you guys see me skipping uploads, which has been quite a bit lately, it's almost always because I am in a bad mental state or I've been really busy. Work has been slow for like 2 years, which has caused me to be in a permanent bad mental state, and sometimes we just have peaks of bad mental state, and I'm PMSing, and it's typically like that I get my period and I'm like, oh yeah, life's fine, it'll be fine. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. So per usual, everything will be fine. But yeah, I'm gonna go pick out some tabs. I think I'm gonna go with mostly blues and use a blue highlighter, pick out a cute bookmark, and that'll be that. I fear you're just gonna have to deal with the sounds of nature because I am depressed, and so I need some sunshine and nature to feel a little bit better. So we're outside reading. It's like the side of my house. So Not Meant to Be by Meghan, Quinn. I am finally about halfway through. I've been trying to read this book for like what feels like 2 weeks now. As you can see by like how few tabs I have for being like 250 pages almost into this book, 240. I'm not live laugh loving this. So this is book 2 in the Kane Brothers series, and based on what I'm seeing on Goodreads, not many people like this book. The other books have like a 4.1 and I think a 4.2 or 3, and this one has like a 3.75, 3.8 on Goodreads, so it's definitely the least favorite. But this book is about Kelsey, who is the sister of Lottie, the main female character in book 1. Oh my god, there's a fucking bee. I fear I have to go inside, because one thing about me is I'm deathly afraid of bees. And we have these wasps here that are bright as fucking red. But my husband just sprayed this like weird cinnamon something around these parts, and I think it's been keeping the bees and shit away, but it is quite scary. So I'm gonna go finish this update indoors and then I'll come back out. Y'all, it was quite literally my husband trying to talk to me through the fucking Ring camera. I'm gonna kill him. Anywho, so this is about Kelsey, Lottie from book 1's sister. Kelsey's a fucking bitch. I don't like her, and that's kind of the consensus on the internet, is that like she's really mean to JP for absolutely no reason. But also I can't stand JP because one of the reasons my mental health right now is really bad is because business has been really bad, aka I don't have any money. And in this book, first off, I'm not really a big billionaire romance fan. I didn't realize before I bought this series that it was billionaire romance, so I'm trying to like not be too judgy about that. But the fact that this man is a billionaire and has repeatedly talked about how they're gonna make more money than they can ever spend, and he is complaining about how he doesn't like his job, is making me actually want to wring his neck. But basically, Kelsey and Lottie make this like closet organizing company together in book 1, and JP kind of oversees the like environmental friendliness of it. I don't fucking know. So they are now on this business trip together in San Francisco, sharing the Kane family penthouse in San Francisco, overseeing this like historical building that they're going to be renovating and trying to restore and do all these things. So they're there to do like a bunch of meetings, and they're sharing the penthouse, and it's this whole forced proximity situation. But Kelsey, even halfway through, is still being such a fucking bitch to him that I actually can't stand it. Also, the chapters in this book are crazy. This book is almost 500 pages and there's only 24 chapters. And that's making me also very mad, but right now it's feeling like a 2, which is like very upsetting when a book's this long. And I'm like, I don't want to even annotate it. Like, I just want to be done with it, but I'm annotating it for this video, and because I annotated book 1, then I gotta see if Maria wants me to send this to her. She'll probably love it because we have not the same taste. Most of the books that I hate, she gives 5 stars. So I'm sure she'll love it. But as of right now, this is not good. I'm not having a fun time. Lottie's a fucking bitch. I don't care about her and JP. There's also at the beginning of all of Lottie's chapters these like snippets from her podcast. I absolutely don't care about those. I'm not even reading them. I read the first couple and now I'm just kind of grazing over them because it's just like I feel like reaffirm that she loves love and is doing anything for love. But like, I just don't care. So my goal is to finish this today because I can't be bothered bringing it into tomorrow. Well, you guys, I'm back inside. You're blurry as fuck. Whatever. The red devil hornets, wasps, the bright red evil bees won't go away. And he's huge. Like, quite literally, like, the body is like this big and I can't handle it. As somebody who is deathly afraid of bees, it's just not my journey for the day. And yeah, so I'm going to find a spot to place y'all for a sec. I'm gonna do that like MySpace angle, I guess. Sure. To change out the scent in my wax warmer and just read inside, because one thing about me, once I start getting panicked about the bees, I'm not going to be able to stop, so there's not really any reason for me to bother. One thing this book does have going for it, though, is that it is for sure the he falls first trope, which I do enjoy. But so far, that's the one and only perk. But I am going to get my cozy reading pillow situation. I'm actually upset because I was enjoying reading outside, but that bee just like won't go away. Maybe I'll try again in a little bit. I have about an hour until I need to walk down to the mailbox, but I'm sure after I do that I'm going to be hot and irritated, so we will see. You know what sucks about doing annotating videos is when the first book is a 5-star and then the next 2 books, you can tell I did not give a fuck about this couple with the amount of tabs in the second half of the book. But annotating a book that you deeply don't like is miserable. So I did end up giving this book a total of 2 stars. And that is for a multitude of things. Most of which being I did not give a flying fuck about this couple. JP deserved so much better than Kelsey. She was a raging bitch for most of the book. And I simply hated her. And due to that, we're going to give this 2 stars, and I do think this is my least favorite of the 3 books that we read, and it's going to make me absolutely drag my feet in finishing out the series, even though Breaker, which is the most disgusting name, I know the 3rd book is about him, and he is my favorite of the 3 brothers. He seems like the most sweetie pie and lover boy, but yeah, like, this is definitely like it's not even, it's definitely more like a grumpy story, and I don't like that dynamic. And I don't mind Black Cat Golden Retriever because that's literally like my couple in real life, but like Kelsey was just so dumb in the third act breakup. This is like, I guess maybe a mild spoiler, but basically whenever they were in San Francisco, Kelsey went on a date with this guy Derek, and while she was going on, she like went on multiple dates with him. Well, not Beaker, that's the Breaker is the brother, this is JP. Well, JP is at the penthouse like sad because he wishes he was going on a date with her. He gets fucking so wasted, and then he ends up sending out this email to like a bunch of girls that he's hooked up with before, asking them to be like, it's very crude, like, oh, I'm sending you this email, like some of them talking about his like big dick, to come to his brother's wedding. And so the third act breakup is like this email comes to light, and he's being essentially like blackmailed, or it's gonna come out that he sent this email. And I'm not really sure why she's so pissed about it, because they literally weren't together when he sent it. So with that being said, 2 stars. So this is 2 stars, Something Wilder was 2 stars, and then An Academic Affair was 5 stars. So at least we had like something stellar in this video, because everything else was pretty shit. But with that being said, that is going to be everything for this video, friends, and I will see you next time. Oh, if you made it to the end of the video, what did we read? Drop a book emoji down below for the Academic Affair, An Academic Affair, because that one was good, or like some sort of school emoji down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye!